Welcome back to Former Feds and Friends, where former government employees react to sci-fi, fantasy, animated films, and all things nerdy, wonky, and awesome. I'm Madeline Valturo. I'm a former stabilization advisor with the U.S. government, and today I am joined by Jeff Sizemore. Jeff also worked with me at the Department of State. He was a deputy director for security and human rights at the Democracy, Rights, and Labor Bureau. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, Madeline. Again, we got to work together there at the State Department. I also held the role as senior advisor on atrocity prevention in the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, trying to reduce the risk of large-scale violence against civilians, which seems a pretty good way to spend one's time. Prior to that, I was a military officer. I was a naval officer for 20 plus years, and working on this genocide and atrocity prevention has kind of been what I did when I grew up for my second career. Today, you and I are going to have the great opportunity to talk through Zootopia, an animated film from Disney that looks specifically at a world where animals act like humans, and they have the ability to, sadly, make some of the same mistakes that we as humans do, and how they interact with one another, and what that does and what that drives ends up being the narrative engine to keep the movie cooking along.
Excellent. Yes, I'm very excited for this one. Without further ado, let's hop right into it.
Fear, treachery, bloodlust. Thousands of years ago, these were the forces that ruled our world. A world where prey were scared of predators. And predators had an uncontrollable biological urge to maim and maul and...
Immediately, the narrative is already started as far as the differences between the groups, and there's automatically the laying out of the differentiations between the us and the them. And clearly already there is some editorializing and some aggrandizing and some playing up on stereotypes and playing up on some of the clear work of trying to show threat, especially existential threat.
I can make the world a better place. I am going to be a police officer.
Nice costume, loser. What crazy world are you living in where you think a bunny could be a cop?
Kindly return my friend's tickets.
Come and get them. But watch out, because I'm a fox. And like you said in your dumb little stage play, us predators used to eat prey.
You don't scare me, Gideon.
You scared now? Look at her nose twitch. Right. Oh, you don't know when to quit, do you?
This scene is really intense.
Indeed. Real threat.
That Gideon Gray doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, he was right about one thing. I don't know when to quit.
The importance of stubbornness.
Already we're sort of setting up the binaries and setting up the kind of tension between them.
I mean, we don't know what the truth is in this like fantasy world. It doesn't even matter because for them the narrative is impacting how they interact with the present. And so this like you said, this binary narrative of like there are two groups of us, and at our core we are in competition with each other is how everyone's seeing the world.
Sir, I got the bad guy. That's my job.
Your job is putting tickets on parked cars.
Chief, Mrs. Otterton's here to see you again.
Not now.
Okay, I just didn't know if you'd want to take it this time. She seems really upset.
Not now!
Sir, I don't want to be a meter maid. I want to be a real cop. Chief Bogo, please. 5 minutes of your time, please.
I'm sorry, sir. I tried to stop her. She is super slippery.
My husband has been missing for 10 days.
Ma'am, our detectives are very busy.
Please. There's got to be somebody to find my Emmett.
Mrs. Otterton.
I will find him. Oh, thank you. Bless you, little bunny.
The bunny is automatically little, even from an animal that is smaller.
I just heard Officer Hopps is taking the case.
Assistant Mayor Bellwether.
The Mammal Inclusion Initiative is really starting to pay off. Well, I'd say the case is in good hands. Us little guys really need to stick together, right?
I will give you 48 hours.
Yes!
But you strike out, you resign.
The smallest of the three of them is actually the only predator. The way that the assistant mayor talks about us little guys, sticking together and drawing alliances there, and clearly utilizing the security forces to push a specific agenda. It's couched in the mammal inclusion initiative, but ultimately there are nefarious purposes even at that moment. Parts of government, especially the security forces, can be used for good or ill is kind of a constant struggle because when done well can be incredibly helpful and can also very quickly become the seeds of predator, seeds of increasing risk.
Yeah, and obviously the Mrs. Otterton wants the police to exist and be empowered to do their job because she has somebody that she wants them to find, and also the deputy mayor, the assistant mayor, who is, like you say, politicizing some of the law enforcement at the expense of predators like the Ottertons.
Well, I had a ball. You are welcome for the clue. And seeing as how any moron can run a plate, I will take that pen and bid you adieu.
The plate. I can't run a plate. Ooh, I'm not in the system yet.
Give me the pen, please.
What was it you said? Any moron can run a plate? Gosh, if only there were a moron around who were up to the task.
Rabbit, I did what you asked. You can't keep me on the hook forever.
Not forever. Well, I only have 36 hours left to solve this case. So can you run the plate or not?
She's been doing some shady stuff with her approach to this case. On the pen, she has kind of recorded that he has committed tax fraud, and she is now using this to coerce cooperation from him in a case that is mainly about advancing her career. He's in a very difficult position, right? He is seen as the bad guy by her and by most people because he is a fox and he is a predator. And also he is kind of, a criminal. I would argue at this stage, she's now switched over into taking advantage of him in a way that is unbecoming of law enforcement.
I mean, she's told flat out, you either solve this or you're fired. She has a huge incentive to try to do this as quickly as possible. And for all of the right reasons and all of the greater good, she is now rapidly breaking rule after rule after rule. It's a bit trite sometimes to talk about the slippery slope, but you can actually trace pretty quickly when one small indiscretion begets another. You reach a point where remembering where your moral compass is gets a little bit difficult because you have already stepped over a few times what should be the left and right limits of how you behave. For no other reason than she's trying to do the right thing. She is rapidly doing multiple wrong things.
I thought this was just a missing mammal case, but it's way bigger. Mr. Otterton did not just disappear. I believe he and this jaguar, they went savage, sir.
Savage? This isn't the Stone Age, Hopps. Animals don't go savage.
What? He was right here! Sir, I know what I saw. He almost killed us.
Or maybe any aggressive predator looks savage to you rabbits.
I'm not the only one who saw him. Nick.
You think I'm going to believe a fox?
So much prejudice. So many different directions.
How could he possibly believe a fox?
But he's also just insulted her as a bunny.
And how quickly she didn't believe in foxes and now wants to use that to her advantage.
Badge.
No. Look, you gave her a clown vest and a 3-wheeled joke-mobile in 2 days to solve a case you guys haven't cracked in 2 weeks?
The untrustworthy fox and the wretched predator steps up to do right by his people. Amazing how that works.
10 left to find our Mr. Otterton. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
She has always learned that what you do is you follow the rules and you follow the people in power. And if they ask you to do something, if they ask you to jump, you say how high. And I think it's interesting that it takes the kind of shifty fox to look at what power is doing and say, well, but I know that power does not always deliver justice. And in this case, it is not. And he has that perspective that he can bring to Judy's case in this instance and empower her to see the abuse of power that's happening.
I think I was 8 or maybe 9, and all I wanted to do was join the Junior Ranger Scouts. So my mom scraped together enough money to buy me a brand new uniform because, by God, I was going to fit in, even if I was the only predator in the troop. I was so proud.
I, Nicholas Wilde, promise to be brave, loyal, helpful, and trustworthy.
Even though you're a fox?
What? No! What did I do wrong, you guys? No! Please tell me, what did I do wrong? What did I do? No!
If you thought we would ever trust a fox without a muzzle, you're even dumber than you look.
I think it's amazing how quickly the good and hard, fast rules of what the group is going to be labeled as, how quickly that's taught. Where as a child, he's dragged and is shown that you're less than, you're dangerous. At a point where he's at his most vulnerable and is looking for connection, he is quickly, in a really demonstrative and important way, shown that you are othered, you are outside.
And I think the parallels between the scene when she's a child and she's being bullied by Gideon and the scene that they just showed with him as a kid, the angles are almost exactly the same as they get pushed down by their attacker, especially when it happens when someone is so young. It impacts them for life.
Enough! I don't want excuses, Doctor. I want answers.
Mayor Lionheart, please. We're doing everything we can.
Really? Because I got 12.5 animals here who've gone off the rails crazy, and you can't tell me why.
It may be time to consider their biology.
What? What do you mean biology?
The only animals going savage are predators. We cannot keep it a secret. We need to come forward.
Great idea. Tell the public. And how do you think they're going to feel about their mayor, who is a lion? I'll be ruined!
Well, what does Chief Bogo say?
Chief Bogo doesn't know, and we are going to keep it that way.
It's impossible that political leaders would keep information from security forces for their own aims. That never happens. Beating up underlings for not being able to provide the answers that they are looking for in that moment. And also a little bit of, it's only predators that are going savage. And so already it seems that the scientists are buying in a bit to the possibility that this might be driven by quote unquote biology. It's how they are.
The idea that people are going savage, this is not a word that anyone knows what it means. This is a concept that comes from history and lore, but it does not seem like it has any kind of psychological or scientific definition. And I think only predators can go savage. When they were saying the only animals going savage are predators, it's like, well, but that's because it is a term that has been used only to refer to an action that predators do. It's like when women are called hysterical. It is a predator term because it's a social term, not a scientific one or one whose parameters are divorced from politics.
What they're talking about when going savage is they're dehumanizing the other group, which is funny to talk about animals, but that's what it is. It's dehumanizing speech. They're vermin, they're threats, they're rats. When we see that happen in language now, we know that's one of the biggest red flags to start looking at as far as the risk of large-scale violence.
So predators are the only ones going savage?
That is yes, that is accurate, yes.
Why? Why is this happening?
We still don't know. It may have something to do with biology.
What do you mean by that?
Thousands of years ago.
She's thinking back to what she was taught in school.
And what Gideon yelled at her
aggressive hunting
as he attacked her in the first scene.
For whatever reason, they seem to be reverting back to their primitive savage ways.
Clearly, there's a biological component. These predators may be reverting back to their primitive savage ways. Are you serious?
I just stated the facts of the case.
So let me ask you a question. Are you afraid of me? You think I might try to eat you?
As her nose is twitching already.
The instincts that used to keep her safe she's now in a position of power, and she has to question those instincts now.
All of the internalized stuff that she's been dealing with, everything that she's sort of picked up over her whole life, comes to the fore at a moment of stress and at a moment of challenge. At the moment when she would like to be her best self, all of a sudden, you're not like them in capital letters. At the same moment that she's sort of having that talk in front of the press, he's looking at the image and he's flashing back to being muzzled. It's clear that the psychological damage and trauma that they both are sort of been confronted with and been ingrained into them, that's why it's so insidious and so dangerous, is because it gets deep, deep in there and sadly shows up at some of the most inopportune and or dangerous times.
More bad news in this city gripped by fear. A caribou is in critical condition, the victim of a mauling by a savage polar bear. This, the 27th such attack, comes just 1 week after ZPD officer Judy Hopps connected the violence to traditionally predatory animals.
Now the word savage is being used as a technical term.
And what was stated by the individual is now fact.
Mm-hmm.
The Zootopia I know is better than this. We don't just blindly assign blame. We don't know why these attacks keep happening, but it is irresponsible to label all predators as savages. I don't understand.
Well, our city is 90% prey, Judy, and right now they're just really scared. You're a hero to them. They trust you. And so that's why Chief Bogo and I want you to be the public face of the ZPD.
I'm not a hero. I came here to make the world a better place, but I think I broke it.
Don't give yourself so much credit, Hopps. The world has always been broken. That's why we need good cops.
A good cop is supposed to serve and protect, help the city, not tear it apart. I don't deserve this badge.
Hopps.
Judy, you've worked so hard to get here. It's what you wanted since you were a kid. You can't quit.
Thank you for the opportunity.
In her moment of where she's kind of really ascendant and all of the compromises that she made along the way, she's suddenly now confronted with what the actual second and third order effects are. And then the political powers that want to use her as the face of things. And she's realizing that actually in hurting her friend and running counter to what she thinks is sort of right, she's now the face of holding down the predator population and furthering the savage narrative. And she's at the point where, for all of the right reasons, she's been doing this, and she can see how that is being misused and misaligned with her actual values. And I think makes the honorable decision that I can't actually be a part of this. This is not why I was doing this in the first place.
I also think you see her stubbornness shining through. She is still adamant. There's still this core part of her that has always been the case, where she wants to make the world a better place, just like she said in the play in her first scene. She's going back to that core belief and that core drive for her and saying, what decision do I need to make in this moment that would make the world a better place versus not? And she does what she's always done, which is she stubbornly kind of pursued her path to justice and what she believes is right. Even though I was laughing at it in the beginning, I'm glad that that's something that stayed with her, that stubbornness for the just way and the right thing.
Even the best of us get off track sometimes. Even the best of us make mistakes and try to do things and don't nail the execution.
It also makes me so mad when he says the world's always been a broken place. I'm like, the world's not broken. It's just complicated. There's a difference. It's one is a problem and one is an amoral reality in which you must navigate. Complicated things are complicated. You navigate within them. You don't make them simpler. Whereas a broken thing is something that you fix or you throw away.
And it implies that you get to a point of fixed and then it's fixed. Whereas a complex thing stays complex.
Night howlers aren't wolves. They're toxic flowers. I think someone is targeting predators on purpose and making them go savage.
Isn't that interesting?
I know you'll never forgive me, and I don't blame you. I was ignorant, irresponsible, and small-minded. But predators shouldn't suffer because of my mistakes. And after we're done, you can hate me. And And that'll be fine because I was a horrible friend and I hurt you.
All right, get in here. Okay, oh, you bunnies. You're so emotional.
He is now allowed to say things to her about her being a bunny.
They have established trust because he's gone out of his way to help her out. She has admitted where she's made mistakes and has sought to reinforce that. They've been honest with one another. They've been vulnerable with one another. They've showed empathy towards one another and established a connection where they both value one another. That becomes more important than kind of the buckets that they were both originally in, so that they can use some of that language. And now it's no longer an attack. They're almost sort of making fun of that.
And I think it's important that it happens in private under a bridge. The delivery of the apology matters, that it is about the two of them.
Authenticity matters. She might not have nailed exactly how she said that, and he might have not had the perfect response to her apology, but because they both could sense that the other was being authentic. Yes, sometimes you don't stick the landing, but if you're really it's clear what your intentions are through how it's delivered, sometimes that'll carry the day.
Run.
Get them.
Get it to Pogo.
I'm not gonna leave you behind. That's not happening.
I can't walk.
We'll think of something.
We're on the same team, Judy. Underestimated, underappreciated.
Same team.
Think of it. Predators. They may be strong and loud, but prey outnumber predators 10 to 1. Think of it. 90% of the population united against a common enemy will be unstoppable.
Us versus them.
Well, you should have just stayed on the carrot farm, huh?
Now we're not on the same team. Now she's a bunny.
I did like you.
So that's it. Prey fears predator and you stay in power?
Yeah, pretty much. Bye-bye, buddy. Blood, 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 and death.
All right, you know what, you're milking it.
I'm interested in your thoughts as somebody who worked for the Bureau of Democracy, Rights, and Labor on this concept of the majority, where she's saying, the majority of people, the majority of the citizens are prey, so we should take care of them. Which is obviously a criticism of democracy, is that it can lean populist.
Because it's democracy and human rights and labor, that the two of them have to be in lockstep and aligned. If you don't have protections for opposition, if you don't have protections for others to sort of help steer, and you don't come to consensus, absolutely, it can be misused. You have to put left and right limits. You have to put guidelines. You have to ensure that it follows the rules, or else it can certainly be misused and misaligned.
The numbers game, too, only works if you can control how the groups are defined. 90% of the population is prey, but we've already clarified that the prey-predator divide is pretty weak, right? Like, some of the predators are the otters that are smaller than the bunny. Some of the prey are the rams and the elephants and the hippos. And so, sure, if you want to make that number the number that matters, then you can twist things a certain way. But we should always question the statistics that are given to us, and why, how they're categorized.
I think her arc over the course of this is a really clear articulation of how, even though she thought she was a good and thoughtful and progressive and wanting to do right and help people, there was some flaws in that for her, flaws in her own understanding, flaws in her own sort of assessment of things. But to her credit, she was able to A, recognize that she wasn't 100% right, B, shift how she thought about things, which intellectual curiosity and the willingness to admit you're wrong is not universal. She ultimately comes to the right answer at the end because of the change, because specifically she's kind of able and willing to do the work necessary to fix her own internal paradigm as far as how she's viewing things.
I also think it's interesting that it is the complexity that kind of foils the sheep's plan. Her plan is to play on a common identity amongst prey, against the predators, but she hasn't factored in the fact that prey also discriminate against each other for different reasons, including the fact that like she's a bunny and has constantly been subject to ridicule from her own, group, from the prey. And so I kind of like that it is the complexity that foils the plan.
Yeah, and Nick's not exactly a complete, amalgam of everything either, right? He has himself faced ridicule and faced othering in his own experience. The idea that all prey and all predators are just homogenous is not the case, and that's never the case. And the assistant mayor's interest in sort of painting with that broader brush runs afoul of the reality that people have different experiences and that those two individuals align with each other despite relatively different backgrounds, because actually there's a ton of similarities that they are able to see in one another.
I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us. We are so lucky to have you. Thanks for tuning in. Just a reminder, these reactions are off the cuff. So we're drawing from our experience, our expertise, but we can't guarantee every detail we mention is fully accurate or that applies the same in every situation. As we've mentioned, be critical and ask questions. And if you do have questions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. We're actually working to develop a companion deep dive podcast. And so your questions, your comments, they can help shape that or our other content. If you want us to react to other animated films, other Disney films, Pixar, all that good stuff, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up so that we know that you liked it. And you can share your suggestions for other reactions in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our videos. You can hit the bell. And just so you know, everything we produce is available for free. We don't put anything behind a paywall, but if you are in a place to support the channel, we do welcome contributions through our Ko-Fi page, and that is linked in the description below. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Peace out.
I don't know when to quit.